Hey everyone, and welcome back. Before we begin here today, please make sure that you like and subscribe because it really does help out our channel. And it also helps us reach others in need of assistance with these topics. So what we're going to be covering in today's video is we're going to be going over trigonometry, and we are going to go over how you would use the law of sines and the law of cosines to solve for either a missing side or a missing angle within a triangle. And this will be our first part in this series. So we're going to have two triangles here. And we're going to have some x value that we have to solve for. It's either going to be a side or an angle. So using the law of sines, the law of sines can be simplistically written like this, where you have sine of angle A over side of A is equal to the sine of angle B over the side of B. And technically there is a sine of angle C over the side of C. So if you want to know where that comes from, we do have a video on the channel going over how the law of sines is derived and where it comes from. So that's your law of sines, hence has sines in it. Your law of cosines will be a little bit longer, and it will be side C squared is equal to side A squared plus side B squared minus off 2 times A times B times the cosine of little angle C. Now, whenever you see a side that is labeled as A, B, or C, the angle that is labeled as the lowercase version of that side, for instance, capital A, capital B, lowercase b, capital C, lowercase c. Those little angles are going to be the angles that are opposite the side. So for instance, if we had a triangle here, this is what it would look like. We would have little angle A, and then side A that is opposite that, little angle B, and then side B, which is opposite that, little angle C, and then side C, which is opposite its angle. And it does not matter which side you call angle A, B, or C, as long as you call the opposite angle the lowercase version of that. All right, so let's go ahead and let's get started with our first triangle here. So this is what we're looking for, is this right here. Now, we would want to use the law of sines as much as possible. It is the easier of the two equations to use. It is the faster of the two equations to use. But in order to use the law of sines, you have to know more information than the law of cosines does. So looking at what we have here, we have a side, which is 9, and we know the angle that is opposite that. We have our side x, and we know the angle that is opposite side x. So anytime you have this distinction between an angle opposite your side that you don't know, and you're trying to find, and then you have a side that does have its angle across of it known, you can use the law of sines for this. So let's write this out. So we would call this like side A, this little angle A. We'll call this one side B, and we'll call this one little angle B. As I said, it does not matter which way you call side A or side B or side C, as long as the angle that's opposite that is the lowercase version of it. So writing in for the law of sines, we would have sine of 60 degrees over the side that is opposite it, which is 9. And then I would have sine of 45 degrees over the side that is opposite, which is my unknown value, x. All right, so what we can do here is we can cross multiply everything. And we would end up with x times the sine of 60 is equal to 9 times the sine of 45. We'll just divide everything by sine of 60, and we end up with 9 times the sine of 45 divided by the sine of 60. And 9 times the sine of 45 divided by the sine of 60 pops out to be exactly 3 times the square root of 6, or you could write it as 7.35. Either one of those is acceptable answers for your side x. Now, technically, these would have some kind of units to them, like inches or centimeters, but since we don't have any units at the start, we're not going to put any units with this one. But that's how you would find your first one. So if you were to use like the law of cosines, for instance, you would have to know what this side is over here, because in order to use the law of cosines, you have to know all sides in order to use it. Or you would know 2 of the sides and the angle opposite the side that is unknown, which that first triangle we did not have. All right, moving on to our second one. Let me scroll back up just a little bit here. All right, so the second one here, we are looking for our value of x over here. Well, let's look and see what we have here. Well, we have the angle that is opposite the x value, the 60 degrees. So can we use the law of sines here? Well, in order to use the law of sines, we have to know another internal angle. Well, we have the 8. We don't know what that angle is across from it. And we don't know what the angle across from the 5 is. So we cannot use the law of sines here because, well, we don't have any other information. Well, let's look at the law of cosines. Well, the law of cosines states that I need to know two sides and then the angle that is opposite my unknown side. And that's what I have here. I have my two sides of 5 and 8, and then the 60, which is opposite my unknown. So let's go ahead and write this out. So we would have x squared as my c is equal to my a value, which we're just going to write as 5 squared, plus my b squared value we'll write as 8, and then minus off those two times each other, times 2. So 2 times 5 times 8. And then cosine of the little angle that, or not the little angle, but the little c angle, which is the angle that's opposite my unknown side, which would be 60 degrees. Oh, not 600, 60 degrees. So we can solve for x here, just do a little bit of math here. So we would basically take the square root of all of this, and that was what would be equal to x. So when you do this, you would get x, all this under the square root becomes 49, once you get it all punched into your calculator and solved out, and then the square root of 49 is just 7. And that's how you would solve for x for that second triangle. So using the law of sines or law of cosines, you just have to watch out what you have and what you're trying to find. So the law of sines would be faster, and you have to know a little bit more information. Law of cosines, you're missing a little bit of information at the start. So I hope this video was helpful. And if you want to see more problem solvers Friday, please check out the other videos and channels we're trying to upload daily. Also, if you haven't done so already, please like this video, leave a positive comment below, and subscribe to the channel because all of that does help us out. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a fantastic day.